Mornings on the Hill take a special look at how Syracuse University marked Black History Month.
As you students share what they would like to see change on campus.
Black culture and Black joy can be found with art in all of its forms with the Black Artists Collective.
Syracuse winter weather is back with a vengeance, and a coach takes his final bow on the court, plus a discussion with the author of Hey White People.
Check out Mornings on the Hill every Friday, starting at 10 a.m. It's just the right thing to do.
Good morning. Welcome to Mornings on the Hill. I'm Tessa Howard.
And I'm Michaela Armstrong. This morning, we have a special show for you. We are highlighting some events here on campus for Black History Month. We unfortunately missed our last show due to a snowstorm. And we know March is here, but the way we see it, every month is Black History Month. So let's begin with a look at this morning's top stories.
To the latest with Ukraine, Russia has seized Europe's largest nuclear plant and started a fire. The fire comes as the Russian forces plan to try to control the vital ports. Ukraine says the fire is out and there's no immediate sign that radiation has leaked. Countries across the world are sanctioning Russia in its effort to stop Putin.
More than 90% of people in the country can ditch their masks. That's according to the CDC's new data released Thursday. The CDC says nearly everyone in the country lives in a low to medium risk area. Here in New York, Governor Kathy Hochul lifted the state mask mandate on Wednesday. Despite that, SU is still at the blue level with 118 cases among staff, faculty, and students. Masks are still required indoors at all times for those who are unvaccinated and are required during class and certain events.
It's an end of an era, 41 years to be exact. On Saturday, Coach Buskowski, that's why we call him Coach K, is coaching this final game with the Duke Blue Devils. This is when the Coach K was winning the Dome last week. His final game will be at Duke against his rival, North Carolina. Tickets prices for the game are similar to the Super Bowl. The best seats in the house range from $5,000 to $3,000, and those seats are 208 to Coach K's former players who have been invited back. You can watch the game tomorrow at 6 p.m.
Now to our special on Black History Month here on campus of Syracuse University. We start with our story about our classmates and our voices in a forum of students of color addressed issues they face at Syracuse University. Elena Lozita was at the town hall.
Thanks, Tessa and Michaela. This Black History Month discussion brought up some very important topics. It is important to understand that we need to listen and support our Black students. Their voices need to be heard.
Tuesday, February 22nd, there was an event that took place in Newhouse. The event was a Black student discussion for Black History Month. The panel consisted of 6 Syracuse University Newhouse students: Calvin Milliner, Tania Brown, Jordan Pierre, Rachel LeGrand, and 2 of our own Mornings on the Hill students, Michaela Armstrong and Talua Famuday. These students discussed the difficulties they have faced before getting into this program, especially in undergrad.
Somehow it is so difficult for us to get in here for undergrad. And I listen to some of these white kids that I'm in these undergrad classes and like, oh, I just transferred into Newhouse. Oh, it's so easy. I just applied. And I'm like, that's funny how I don't know how, but they get in with no barriers, no obstacles, no nothing.
My parents were trying to mold me into something before I could even see it. And now I'm looking back and I'm like, man, why did it have to be so hard? Why do Black people have to go through so much more things just to make their dream come true?
The panelists also discussed how students of color oftentimes feel uncomfortable addressing a professor's teaching style in office hours and how it makes them feel uncomfortable, and addressing what students of color need when in the classroom.
And that's when he kind of understood. And then he said, I want to implement some of this. And then he implemented it and it worked. I didn't have it all together. I didn't know how to kind of deal with this. It was uncomfortable and I didn't know how to kind of navigate through it because I've been operating the same way all these years. And I was grateful that that my parents had kind of told me, you got to speak up for yourself if you don't feel like this is right.
Since Black History Month just ended and Women's History Month just started, I wanted to end by a quote by Sojourner Truth. Life is a hard battle anyway. If we laugh and sing a little as we fight the good fight of freedom, it makes it all go easier. I will not allow my life's light to be determined by the darkness around me. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Elena Locido.
The National Association of Black Journalists is back on campus.
For Black History Month, NABJ reporters from right here in Syracuse and from far as Houston, Texas came together. Imani Clement is here to tell us more.
Thanks, Tessa. During the last week of Black History Month, the NABJ SU chapter hosted a Telling Our Community Stories panel, a discussion on how young Black journalists can adequately represent their communities, not only through their storytelling, but in the newsroom as well. Let's take a look.
Has a long history of telling our community stories of colors through a lens of issues of poverty, poor health.
The panel kicked off with an introduction from the NABJ SU chapter Vice President, Michaela Armstrong. A small group of Newhouse students were in attendance to hear from a group of seasoned multimedia journalists and anchors on how to report on stories concerning the Black community. CNY Central multimedia journalist Alora Lagarde initiated the conversation and discussed the importance of having diversity in the newsroom.
I never wanted to feel that way ever again, and it was important to me to be in a newsroom that had people of color, to have someone that looked like me, because I did not want to be in a space like that ever again where I felt uncomfortable to showing who I am.
CNY Central anchor Melanie Johnson additionally stressed that young journalists also need to participate in the fight to add more color to newsrooms.
So you have to continuously make sure that your managers are getting interns of color, producers of color, people on air of color. Just because you made it does not mean that somebody else is not knocking at that door. And it takes you saying, I believe in this person, let's bring them in, for them to say, you know what, let's hire them.
We at Mornings on the Hill want to stress how important it is that stories are told every month and not just Black History Month. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Imani Clement.
Another focus here on campus during Black History Month was an event called the State of the Black Professional. Many gathered as faculty and staff got together for a panel discussion. The 5 panelists talked about diversity, equity, inclusion, and mental health. Each shared their evolution as a Black professional and how important conversations like this are during the Black History Month.
Spiritual health, emotional health, whatever it is, as a Black professional, it is important, and it's like a requirement, it's mandatory. When you're a Black professional at the Downright institution, you have to exercise that self-care strategically.
This event is one that took place during Black History Month that drove a deeper conversation to spark change in the community at SU.
Syracuse alum Chuck Hayward was back on the Hill last week to give advice to the next set of journalists. Mornings on the Hill, Talua Famude had a chance to sit down with Hayward on an exclusive one-on-one interview.
Thanks, Tessa. Now, Hayward is a writer and producer, having worked on some of the biggest television series, such as WandaVision and Ted Lasso. During our Black History Month coverage, we sat down with Hayward to get his insight on important aspects of being in the industry. Now, because of his screenwriting background, we first discussed how he keeps making ideas to write scripts at all. Take a listen.
Yeah, well, a lot of it is just we want to see. Like, the stuff that's in our hearts, that we're experiencing in our lives, that we're like, hey, man, I want to put that out there. Like, this was interesting. This made me think. This made me feel. This made me grow. This kicks my ass. Like, I should share that with the world so that people who are having similar experiences can be like, hey, that's me. Like, I've experienced that as well.
Hayward then touched on society's need for journalists to tell fact-based stories.
And I mean, the writing too for journalism, I think is especially these days quite a skill. Like, because it's you have to avoid the desire to like get too opinionated and just kind of focus on the facts, which it's hard to find anymore. So we need folks like you that are dedicated to actual fact-based writing.
Briefly, just tell me, like, was it celebrated when you were at Syracuse?
You're talking about Black History Month specifically?
Yes.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was highly celebrated. I think like there were a few more programs that popped up, but I think like just the community of color at Syracuse was always pretty like active year round. Yeah, I think we probably stepped it up a little bit to label stuff like history, but we were pretty on it year round. I feel like, which is I think the goal. I think that it would be nice to have that be the norm. I think Black History just reminds us to like focus on it for 1 month. Just like all history months, you just remind you to focus on that one thing for that month, but with the idea of keeping that spirit alive year round.
Yeah. Hayward also says he felt honored to tell his story to prospective journalists and writers. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Talua Famide. Back to you.
Our own reporter, Fazong Ling, joins us on a story where a local organization closed out Black History Month with art and soul.
Mornings on the Hill reporter Pajong Lee tells us how this event will bring smiles and support to the art community.
The killing of George Floyd had many organizations rethinking their commitment to diversity, and that included the local arts community right here in Syracuse. A call to action was made to support Black artists, and so the Black Artists Collective was formed. They were able to host a night full of Black culture and Black joy. Twists and turns, songs and soul. You're looking at the dress rehearsal for Fête Noire, and it's happening right here in the Community Folk Arts Center, or CFAC. The Black Artists Collective is hosting this event full of Black art and culture. Kiana Williams says the idea is to celebrate Black joy.
Joy, in many ways, is a disruptor. It's an act of resistance. Celebrating life in spite of all of that is trying to hold you back.
This event was held virtually for the first time last year and had a turnout of about 100 attendees. But this year, people can come in person or watch online. The sold-out show will have more than just stage performances. Aside from the drums and tunes and the rhythm and blues, the showcase will also feature CFAC's current exhibit. Atlanta-based artist Shaniqua Gay connects the past with the present for Black Americans. Carry the Weight is her exhibit that highlights Black women and Black culture. The hybrid form of humans with zebra legs merge the spiritual and temporal world today.
More specifically, when you visit exhibit, you're going to see collage work, so works on paper that have like these hybrid beings that she calls the devout. And what she's trying to do is to really have a conversation about culture, about memory, about Afrofuturism.
Black history is American history. It's in our everyday lives, and that's what the Black Artists Collective wants us to remember. With Mornings on the Hill, I'm Pajong Lee.
Coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, the National Association of Black Journalists has returned to campus. More on their mission.
And you can believe the weather is going to be drastically changed again.
Gabriel Vega will be here, and he's going to tell us what's in store. Stay with us for more on these stories and much more on Mornings on the Hill. And it's time to look at your weather for today.
Gabe, what does it look like out there?
It's been a little crazy the past few weeks in terms of weather. We couldn't be in studio last Friday because of the raging snowstorm. I don't know about you, but I'm ready for the spring to kick in. It's kind of cold this morning. Take a look outside. It's snow. It's so cold the snow is crunchy. There's a name for that. It's called hoarfrost, not W-H-H-O-A-R. Hoarfrost is a type of feathery frost that forms as a result of a specific climatic conditions. The word hoar comes from Old English and refers to the old age appearance to the frost. The way the ice crystals form makes it look like white air or beard. So today, We're at 22 degrees right now, but with the wind blowing, it feels like 12 degrees. If we look at our week, the weather will be going through a lot of changes in the next few days. It will be warming up tomorrow. It's going to be 45, partly cloudy. Then it looks like we're going to be singing in the rain on Sunday, but your umbrella might have you flying like Mary Poppins because of the wind. There will be a mix of rain and wind, and we're going to get a high of almost 70 degrees, so that's nice. And then on Monday, the temperature will drop a little. We're going to get some 39 degrees, but we'll be switching from snow to rain and rain to snow. That sounds a little messy. So keep your umbrella and coat handy. And Tuesday, we're going to have some more snow showers in the AM at 36 degrees. And then on Wednesday, get ready for some more warm weather. The sun will return. You can see it behind the cloud right there. It will be 46 degrees. So yeah, enjoy your weekend, everyone. Tessa, Michaela.
SU had a big weekend in sports, and that included the largest student section of all time for a game you didn't want to miss.
Jack Wallace is here with all you need to know in sports.
Good morning. I'm Jack Wallace with your Orange Sports Update here on Mornings on the Hill. You may look up at the rafters during tomorrow's Syracuse men's basketball home finale against Miami, whether in joy or frustration, and you may notice the number 19 banner hanging high. Let's take a look back at not just one of the SU greats, but in honor of Black History Month, the first great. Sadat Singh pioneered African Americans in SU athletics, earning a scholarship for basketball in 1935. He led the Orange to a 40-15 record in just 3 seasons. After a coach noticed him playing intramural football in the offseason, he was offered to join them too, where he quickly became a star. While the NFL and NBA's color barrier was still over a decade to be broken, Sadat Singh joined the ever-growing war effort, enrolling in the ranks of the famous Tuskegee Airmen. Now Second Lieutenant Wilmuth Sadat Singh, fighter pilot / athlete. Only days after earning his wings, he died in a training accident, crashing into Lake Huron on May 9th, 1943. He was 25 years old. 62 years later, Syracuse left his legacy hanging in the dome forever, his number 19 permanently watching over the Orange today. Wilmuth Sadat Singh is a hero on the court, on the field, and most importantly, to us all. Now, besides spending Friday mornings here talking sports, my other passion is sports photography. I'm pleased to share with y'all my new segment, Jack's Photo of the Week, where I highlight my favorite shot I've taken in sports for the week. My best shot taken this week was in Syracuse Women's Hockey CSA Championship game, but we're going to show you right here one I had last week. Now, that was in the Georgia Tech-Syracuse game where Michael DeVoe almost makes the game-winning shot to win over the Syracuse Orange, but it doesn't quite go in. But you can see Sidibe, Buddy Boeheim, everyone just watching that shot miss barely. So a good thing I was able to get it right there. And there you go, jubilation. That's my second one. That is Syracuse women's ice hockey winning the CSA championship this last weekend. Congratulations to them. Now make sure to follow my photo Instagram for more shots like these. That's going to be at Jack Wallace Photo. Now that was for a championship at Tennessee Ice Pavilion, but OCC is going to host some high school basketball championships this weekend. We're talking Class AA today. Now on the girls' side, where CNS meets Baldwinsville in the battle of the top seeds in Section 3. Tip-off for that one is Saturday at 7. And for the boys, they also bring that 1 versus 2 energy into the title game. Liverpool and West Genesee play for a chance at regional starting at 7 the next day. Now that's all for your Mornings on the Hill Orange Sports Update. Back to you, Tessa.
Coming up with Mornings on the Hill, an organization revealing a list of diverse and new voices in media that you don't want to miss out on. Today is an exciting day for a student organization, 44 new voices.
That's right, Tessa. Their annual list is launching, and our own Katie Hopsicker is out on campus and says this list might be better than last year.
Project manager Zanira Ghulam Hussain says that 44 New Voices amplifies new voices within media around the world.
Through diversity, media news, policy, public affairs, and civic commentary. Those are my research interests. And that is exactly what 44 New Voices is all about.
44 New Voices was created 3 years ago by students within the Center of Digital Media and Entrepreneurship in Newhouse on Syracuse University's campus.
Syracuse University has not always been known as a diverse campus. And it's really important for the white people who attend the university and other people of color as well to learn about really unique people who are minorities, who are doing really amazing things. This is relevant to the Syracuse community because it's relevant for everyone in the United States at this moment in history.
And so I wanted to charge the way for us collectively to be brave and courageous in looking back on things that brought us pain, shame, blame, but then offering an opportunity to rewrite those narratives so that we
Yes, it is so exciting that this list is launching today here at Syracuse University. For more information, go to 44 New Voices on all social platforms, and you can go to 44newvoices.org to check out the list. So excited to bring you guys a sneak peek, and I can't wait. For Mornings on the Hill Live, I am Katie Hopsiker. Thank you.
That is going to do it for us here on Mornings on the Hill. I'm Michaela Armstrong. Follow us on Twitter at Mornings on the Hill and Instagram at Mornings on the Hill.
I'm Tessa Howard. Thanks for watching Orange Nation. We'll see you next Wednesday live at 10 a.m. right here on OTN.